Striker Scorpion 82 is now sponsored by Warhammer Combat Cards, a card battle game featuring your favourite Citadel miniatures from the 40k universe. Build your army decks, dominate opponents in player versus player action, collect and upgrade cards to fit your strategy, improve their power and unlock unique traits. Choose from all 40k factions, take part in campaigns based on iconic 40k battles, rise to the top of the leaderboard and win glory. Free to download and play, link is in the video description below or on the channel homepage, and by using the unique link it helps support the channel. Thanks and enjoy the game. Alright, so welcome to this Drukhari top 5 unit video here. So I'll be discussing my top 5 units that I recommend you to use in your own Drukhari army. So my collection's expanding with these. I don't have all the models, but from the units that I have and I've used in games, and based on the new codex here, I'll give you the top 5 that I've chosen for this video. Check out the comment section below, see what other people are saying. If you're an experienced Drukhari player, then you can leave your own choices as to what you think are the best units to use. You can agree with my top 5, you can change the order around, you can add in and take out units and so on, and then you can discuss the reasons why each of your choices are so good. But this is the idea, that this video is to help you as you formulate, put an army together, to try out different units, and just to recommend to you some units that I would definitely include in any Drukhari army. Then at this point, just before we go any further, there is just to mention some Drukhari resources to you. There is the full army list video that should be live now, 2,000 points based on the new codex. There is a codex review that's available here for the new codex as well. I go through all of the units in that video. And then there's painting tutorials. I'll bring in some of the units here and you'll see them. If you like the look of the units, then there is a painting tutorial here on YouTube. How to paint Dark Eldar. It's made a number of years ago, but the colour schemes remain the same. The whole process that I use for all of the units has remained the same, so you can follow that guide, and that'll show you how to paint the models up how you see them on the screen. There is also an in-depth painting tutorial on the Plus channel. I'll show you how to paint one of the vehicles and show you how to do all the markings and so on. That's all covered in that video as well. So plenty of resources available, and then use these tactical videos, the complete army video, this video here as a resource as you put together your Drukhari force, and as you try and gain some experience in using them on the battlefield. They are a deadly army. I think they've improved a lot now with this new codex. Very, very potent with their firepower, close combat, some nasty units for sure. I found with these, there's 3 elements to the Drukhari to use them effectively. First is maneuverability, which they have. They can be very, very quick. Most of the units are nice and fast. Then secondly is firepower. They can pack a mean punch with their firepower. And then thirdly, close combat. There's some very nasty close combat units. So think of those 3 things as I bring in each of these units. It helps to fulfill these different roles that the Drukhari need on the battlefield. So actually have 2 units to show you and 3 HQ choices as we make up this top 5 list. I heartily recommend these to you. We'll take a look at them now. So at number 5, my 5th choice, but these are the top 5, so all of these units are good. This is number 5, which is actually a fast attack option. So it's these, it's Reavers. Perhaps a controversial choice, but I very much rate them, and I'll explain that as we go along. I'll bring the unit in, and I'm currently going to run them as a unit of 9. And as far as appreciating the units that are sculpt wise and look very good, Reavers are fantastic. I'd probably say they're my favourite Drukhari unit. Just the look of them. Brilliant concept of a jet bike. The whole design of them looks fantastic. Just the biker leaning forwards. These sort of solid dome visors here at the front. Very, very cool. Just remember when these first came out from Games Workshop. Just the complete overhaul of the previous Dark Eldar models. And then these were in a completely different league above. So 9 of them, which looks quite impressive on the battlefield. And you can see the colour scheme here, it's looking green, but if you rotate them around, it goes to blue. I sort of split the colours with them, as you can see. I've gone for it. It's like an off-world alien kind of metallic colour with them, which is built up using a number of washes. Quite a quick process, not too time consuming, but there they are, unit of 9. So we'll go through the stats for them first of all. Points wise, you're looking at 20 points each. It says 10 points in the back, but they reckon it's a mistake and it will be changed to the correct number, which is 20 points per model. So expensive enough, unit of 9, 180 points. So previously in different editions I used to run them as 3 units of 3 for objective grabbing and so on. Then previously in 8th edition I was running a unit of 6 and a unit of 3. But now I'm running as a full blob. I've got other units that can grab objectives. I'm going to use these, move them away from grabbing objectives so much and put more of an emphasis on them as a license to go out and try and destroy targets by using their manoeuvrability, their firepower and close combat. They're a lot more effective than what they were in close combat as well. So that's the more I want to use them more aggressively, but at the same time I don't want to be sticking them at the tip of the spear because they'll get blown away, so I usually try and hide them and then try and strike at full force, full strength at 9 models if possible. Reavers then. First of all, 18-inch move. That's one of the main reasons for taking them. They're super fast across the battlefield. 18-inch move is incredibly good. Weapon skill and ballistic skill 3+, nice and reliable. The toughness 4. There's a little bit of durability with these, and 2 wounds each as well. So there's 18 wounds for the opponent to try and get through on this unit. 3 attacks base. They used to be 2 attacks, I believe, so they've got more attacks available. And then the squad leader, the arena champion, does have an extra attack, so 4 attacks available for him or her. And then 4-up save. Now, first off, we'll just bear in mind there's a 4-up save, and then power from pain, inert to suffering, 6+ invuln save. So immediately you're going to get a 6+ invuln save also. And then that turns into a 5+ invuln save, turn 4 onwards. So I think a pretty impressive stat line with these. There's an element of durability with them, but you've got a stable weapon skill and ballistic skill, and then exceptionally quick with their move. Now we then combine that with matchless swiftness roll. Each time this unit advances, you don't make an advance roll. Instead, it's a guaranteed 8-inch move on top of that. So you've got 18 inches plus 8, so 26-inch guaranteed move with these. Very, 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 very quick. So then moving on to, we'll talk a bit more about manoeuvrability a bit later on as we build this unit up here. Yeah, we'll go through this and then I'll show you some enhancements to make these even better. So first of all is firepower. So the standard equipment for these, they all come with splinter pistols. So something to bear in mind, try and remember when these are fighting away in close combat, or when they get close to the enemy target, then they can fire their pistols. But really, you're looking to fire the splinter rifles, and the pistols you'd save for close combat if you get to shoot on your turn whilst locked in. So splinter rifles, which is not that deadly, there's nothing too scary about them. But down here it says you can take every 3 models in the unit, you can replace the splinter rifle with either a blaster or a heat lance. Some have said take heat lances. That's going to cost you 10 points a time. I take blasters, which are half the cost. They're 5 points each instead of 10, so you can save yourself some points. I max out and take 3 in this unit of 9. And then the situation, then you've got a bit of a bodyguard scenario going on here. 6 of the models can absorb the damage and try and protect the 3 that are carrying the heavier weapon. So I go for blasters. The problem is with the heat lance is range 18 is fine. Heavy once. As soon as you move, you're just -1 to hit rolls. Not good. Need 4s. Strength 8 -4. That's all good. The damage is good. D6 +2. It's excellent damage. But just I don't see them as being that reliable when it comes to actually trying to hit the target. The other major downside for these is if you do advance, you're not going to be able to shoot with heavy weapons. So for reliability for shooting, I take the blaster. Yes, it's D6 damage, but still, you can get some great results with that. So triple blaster, I take for these. You can take cluster caltrops and grav turns. It's the ability to cause mortal wounds. So models trying to fall back, you roll a d6 and a 4+, it's a mortal wound, and then when you make a charge, 4+ is a mortal wounds, 6, a roll of a 6, it's d3 mortal wounds. If I was to go for those, I'd probably try and max out. So I would take this for every 3 models, I believe. Yeah, so I'd try and take triple cluster caltrop, triple grav talon. Just try and max out with them. But I don't take those, it would push the cost up by a fair bit, but it's an option to consider. So, a few things. First of all, just to show you how the combination that I go for, and again, check out the comment section and see how others use them. I run them as Cult of the Red Grief. So, speed of the kill. You can reroll charges. So immediately you get reroll charges for the unit. Very, very helpful indeed. And then, secondly, add 2 to advance rolls made for units of this obsession. So already get an 8-inch guaranteed advance. Now you're getting a 10-inch guaranteed advance of these. So you've got some very reliable movement. You're not rolling a d6 to see how far you can advance. You'd know how far you can go, as that can help as you try and calculate where you want to move on the battlefield. Now if you combine that with your combat drugs, your power from pain ability here, turn 2 onwards. Usually I'm looking to manoeuvre on turn 1, and then turn 2 I'm looking to attack. Turn 2 onwards, this unit is eligible to declare a charge in a turn in which they advance. Remember, 18-inch move, a 10-inch advance or an 8-inch advance, and then you're allowed to charge after that as well. So this is a unit I think that can maybe catch enemy units unawares, catch them off guard at how fast these can actually go, and be allowed to charge at the end of it, and be allowed to shoot on top of that as well. So speed is a major element of this unit. Their ability to move across the board. Very, very, very fast indeed. I'll mention combat drugs here. The options are, as you can choose one, so you might want to choose +1 toughness or +1 strength, whatever you want to go for, or you can randomise, which may well be worth it. You got +2 inches to move is an option, +1 strength, +1 attack, +1 toughness, +1 weapon skill. All of those are good. +1 ballistic skill. They're all actually well worth trying to go for. So I usually randomise. So I get 2 options randomised from this table. But combat drugs, great enhancement. Really, really good. Now, close combat. They never really were that scary in close combat. I'd say they're almost miles better than what they were. You get more attacks with them. So unit of 9, 27 attacks plus the leader to 28 attacks. It's a lot of attacks. Then a number of things that make them even better. So you've got more attacks than ever before. You've got Blade Artists roll down here. So any 6s to wound is an AP -1, which really helps. And then combine that with Blade Veins, which gives you a +1 strength, so fighting at strength 4, and AP -1 for these as well. So now you're going to get -1 across the board, any 6s to wound, an extra AP -1 on top of that. So all of a sudden they've become very, very good. I say very good, they've become effective in close combat, whereas before they just were not that great at all. But now they'll charge into a guardsman squad and wipe them out, no problem. 2 guardsman squads, they'll cause trouble. So now you've got a unit that can be used in close combat quite effectively. So it's those reasons. I think the main reason is manoeuvrability. This is a unit I can call upon to move very, very swiftly across the board. You know, it might be an isolated objective somewhere. These guys swing around super fast. Clear the objective in close combat. Brilliant. Another way of using these is to pick off isolated units and isolated characters. So you've got a character that might be maybe screening behind another enemy unit, might be some distance away. These can manoeuvre in, very, very swift, and then isolate that unit, fire at them, charge into them, pick them off. So, like an assassination hit squad on jet bikes. And there is that element of surprise. I think there'll be times when the opponent's going to be caught out just how quick these are. And it adds to the whole pirate thing we've got going for my army of units that can sweep across, sort of break up the enemy without the enemy having any chance of trying to get to grips with them. Now, all of those elements are great, and then what really sealed the deal was a powerful stratagem that you can use. for them, which we'll cover here as well. I'm just trying to give you all the tactics I can think of to show you what units are good, and then build on that by adding on extra abilities and things to bear in mind. Now, yeah, it's here. It's Eviscerating Flyby. So it costs you 1 CP, or if you've got more than 5 models in the unit, which is the case with this unit here, it's going to cost you 2. But it may well be worth it here. It says use the strategy movement phase when you select a witch cult unit that can fly to make a normal move or advance. Remember, that's a huge move that they can make. After the unit has moved, select one enemy unit this unit moved across and roll 1d6 for each model in this unit, adding 1 to the result if the enemy unit is an infantry unit. For each 5+, it's a mortal wound. So, yeah, this ability can be used against any target. It could be used against a vehicle, could be like a dreadnought, for example. But infantry it's particularly good against. Makes it 4s to cause mortal wounds. As I'm reading this, there's no restriction here against going after characters. So a trick with these is to fly over a character model, and then 9 dice deemed 4+ to cause mortal wounds. That's going to cause trouble for any character. Now, you've got the ability to move over and cause damage. Then you could shoot with the blasters, again against that character or against another target. And then after that, turn 2 onwards, you can actually, after advancing, using the stratagem and shooting, you can also charge as well. So there is that triple option available from this unit. They can move across a target and cause damage, you can shoot at a target and cause damage, and then charge into a target and cause damage all on the same turn. So it's well worth trying to deliver these in strength, and just at the right point in the game you could send the Reavers in, and I think they would cause a fair bit of trouble. I guess if you did add in the cluster caltrops and so on, then there's another element there of where they could cause trouble as well. So that's the Reavers. Maybe you disagree with this option. I've chosen a unit here that I like and I think has great potential, and it's a unit that's improved. I think they've improved from the previous codex. They never were that deadly in close combat. You could maybe have given the arena champion a close combat weapon, but that was about it. But now, with that -1 from the blade veins, the extra attacks come through, blade artists being stacked up on top of that, now you've got a unit that's actually pretty potent in close combat. But I think the best way to use them currently is I want to run a larger unit of them. So keep a look out for them in battle reports. Talking about this tactic here, and see how they're used. So previously I was send them out onto objectives, small squads, but now I've merged them as one blob, and to make them an actual threat and to use them aggressively to actually go after enemy units. That's the Reavers. The next choice is from the elites section. It's Incubi. So unit 5 I run at the moment. To get the most out of these, and that's what we're going to cover in this video. You know, you've got the standard unit, and then how to get the most out of them. Just all the tips and tricks that I can think of with these. So you can run a unit of 10. I take a unit of 5. I did have the metal models, still have the metal models. And I thought, well, maybe it's a waste of time painting up the plastic ones, but the newer plastic models really are beautiful. Fantastic sculpt from Games Workshop, so heartily recommend. If you don't have them already, heartily recommend getting the Incubi for your Drukhari force. Now with these, their main purpose, their sole purpose is to charge in and kill stuff in close combat, and they're very, very good at that indeed. Again, it's another unit that's improved. So 7-inch move, but bearing in mind, turn 2 onwards you can advance and charge. Usually I run them inside a transport like a Raider or a Venom. So there's that extra 3 inches disembarkation as well. So you've got a 3-inch disembarkation, a 7-inch move, and then 1 to 6 inches advancing as well, and then the ability to charge after you've advanced, turn 2 onwards also. So they do have a fair bit of reach. It's a smaller unit. I found that they then drop in the priority list that the opponent has of units they want to destroy, so they'll often ignore them or put them at a lower priority, and that means that these can stay alive a bit longer and I can sneak them in, because I know that unit 5 of them really can cause a lot of trouble. You know, a unit of 10 intercessors, gladly charge those in. It could cause a lot of trouble for that target unit. Which we'll cover that here. We'll run through the stat line for them. So trying to get the speed, trying to deliver them in, because the last thing you want is them wandering up the table on foot. They're going to get blown away. You want to be able to deploy them, charge them immediately, and then to have the maximum result possible. So first off, weapon skill 2+. That's for all of them. Squad leader, Clavex, and the regular incubus as well. So very, very reliable with their hit rolls. So an excellent start. Just the 1 wound, 3 up armor save. So I wouldn't rely on them too much for durability. So you're wanting to get them to charge in early, strike first, and then that's mission accomplished for them. They're 3 attacks base now. I think they were 2 previously, but they're 3 attacks base and 4 attacks for the Clavex. I'll just whilst remember, I'll share with you one stratagem that's worth using. Here, try and think of all the tactics to help you out with your formation or forming your own Drukhari list here. Hunt from the shadows. So if you can get yourself into light cover with these, an infantry unit, in your opponent's shooting phase, when a Drukhari unit from your army as the benefits of light cover is selected as the target of a ranged attack until the end of that phase, add an additional 1 to the unit's save and throws. So excluding in-1 saves. So you can find yourself in cover, get a 2 up armor save, but you get an extra +1 to your armor save whilst in cover as well. So you've got a bit of AP -1 coming through against them. In light cover, still going to be on 2 up armor save. So that's a strategy. It's only cheap, it's one command point. Just trying to add a bit of durability to them. Now, you've got Tormentors, chance to force the opponent's unit to fight last, or on 2d6 trying to beat the leadership. So sometimes, but 30-40% of the time you might get that one to go off. They do have Blade Artists, so any 6s to wound in close combat is an extra AP -1 on top of the AP- they already have, which is already very, very good. And then, whilst the unit contains a Clavex, each time a melee attack is made by a model in this unit, a modified wound roll of a 6 adds 1 to the damage characteristic of the attack as well. So there's 2 things you're getting on 6s to wound. You're getting +1 damage, so becoming damage 3, and then an extra AP -1 as well. So those are all good. You take the regular blade is the Clave, that's for these 4 models here, giving you +2 strength, so very good, pushes you up to strength 5, it's tipping you over, enabling you to wound Marines, for example, on 3s. AP -3, superb, really, really good if you're fighting against Space Marine type targets, and then damage 2 as well, so you're going to hack through Space Marines, Primaris Marines, very, very quickly indeed. That damage 2 is deadly. And useful if you're going to go in against maybe a character or a vehicle, just that high damage is very useful. And then the squad leader Demi-Clave, remember base of 4 attacks, you can go for the single blade, which works out the same as the Clave, or you can go for dual blades, +1 strength, AP -2, 2 damage, but you get an extra 2 attacks. So depending on what target you're fighting in close combat, that is an option that is available. But 2s to hit though, and all of these benefits come through. They can chop through stuff. Unit 5 can hurt Marines a lot. Now, I would then combine these with an HQ choice. It's Trezar, Master of Blades, it sits perfectly with him, and he gives a benefit here. Master of Blades. While a friendly incubi unit is within 9 inches of this model, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, it's +1 to the wound roll. It's huge. You're fighting against Marines, you're on strength 5, it's 3s to wound. All of a sudden, with Trezar nearby, it becomes 2s to wound. So imagine 2s to hit, 2s to wound. You're going to get a lot of wound rolls coming through. So that's something to bear in mind. They work very well with Trezar, Master of Blades nearby. And it suits, you've got Trezar and you've got a little bodyguard around him as well. So you can make it, that's number 4. Here, I think they're an infantry unit that can pack a mean punch. Real chopping ability available with this unit. I keep them nice and lean, nice and small, put them in a Venom or a Raider, manoeuvre them into position, and then send them out turn 2 onwards to fight in close combat. So, they're your heavy infantry killers, and then they'll gradually take on characters, vehicles, monsters, and so on. No problem. Now, my next 3 choices are actually HQ choices. I very, very much rate the HQs that the Drukhari have available to them now. They're often very, very cheap and can be upgraded to make them very, very good. Yes, so what I'm looking at here is option number 3. So third place, I've put the Archon. So this is not a named character, and what can make these so good is you can start customizing them with war gear, but mostly through relics and Warlord Traits. And I think some of the relics and Warlord Traits inside this book are really, really good, and so you can build up some very nasty combinations. This is what I'd like to, the next two options coming up here, because there's I've got 2 HQs to show you that are quite customizable. Leave comments if you're running these and you have a certain combination that works really, really well. It'd be great to hear about that in the comments section below, because there's all sorts of different combinations you can go for with the Drukhari Archon. I'm going to show you the one that I prefer at the moment, but check out and see what other combinations people are saying are good. Stat line then is 80 points, by the way. 80 points, unit of 5 Incubi. It's a nice cheap unit with the potential to cause a lot of trouble. Archon starts off at 65 points for him. Weapon skill, ballistic skill 2+, strength 3, toughness 3, just 5 wounds, 5 attacks though, nice load of attacks, which is great, 4 up save. As far as durability is concerned, it does have the shadow field, so 2+ in 1 save. It can't be re-rolled for any reason, but 2+ can go on forever. I think I did 16 saves the other day at 2+, rolling 1 at a time to stay alive. So that it can fail on the first roll, or it can go on for a long time in a game. It does have the aura ability, reroll 1s for Carbal units or Incubi units within 6 inches of him. He actually gets it for Incubi as well. Cool. So help out units like that. He's not going to help out the vehicles though. So it's a bit of a change of tack with him. I used to run the Archon as an aura unit, so to help out the shooting of all my flyers and vehicles and so on. But now that's not going to apply. He's now got more of a license just to go and do his own thing. So I've actually turned him into a bit of a close combat option for my Drukhari force. And it's not that big, you know, the old rules with a point for Slay the Warlord, that's all gone. So he is a bit more, there's less pressure on him, and he's more free to move out and get stuck into close combat. So I'm going to gear him up here for close combat. So he comes with a splinter pistol and power sword, not that deadly at all. So what I do is pay the points, I swap out the pistol and take a blast pistol. So now he's got a pistol that's strength 8 minus 4 d6 damage. You can use that at 6-inch range for shooting, or if he finds himself in close combat on his turn, you can fire it whilst he's in close combat. So that's an easy fix, that's just 5 points for that one. And then pay the points to give him a Jin blade. It's 5 points, or husk blade, sorry, 5 points. Strength user, strength 3, AP minus 2 and 2 damage. Which is okay, it's not that scary, it's alright at this point. But then I give him, some have said take an agonizer, it's what he's modelled with, but I think the combo that I've got here is better. And what I wanted to talk about with him is his relic and warlord trait. What you've got here is a character that's not named, so you can customize him by taking a certain warlord trait and also a relic as well. So let's take a look here. There's a lot of options to go for. It's just taking a fair while to figure out what to do. And there's something else that I want to cover actually with him. Yeah, so I do pay the points. So 65 points for the model, 5 points for blast pistol, 5 points for the husk blade, and then I also pay another 15 points on top of that to give him Master Archon keyword. Unlock some of these abilities here, Relic of Soulhelm, Warlord Trait as well, but I don't actually take those. But what you do get is a Splinter Genius, a main rule that he gets. Once per battle at the end of the fight phase, if this model is within engagement range of any enemy units, it can fight against. The ability to fight twice. Brilliant. Really, really good to fight twice, just once during the game. So that's all good. And it also unlocks the ability to take Carbonite Trueborn, which is your 2+ to hit, ignoring modifiers. I think that's really good. So you unlock, there's two areas. He gets to fight twice. Remember I was saying I want to make him more aggressive and get stuck in close combat. Well, fight twice is perfect. And it also lets you take some upgraded Carbonite Warriors. So far we've got a model that's quite durable. He's got a license to kill, but his pistol's okay, but he's not packing much of a mean punch in close combat. So I'm going to try and improve that by a choice of Warlord Trait and Relic. Let's do the Relic first of all. So what I take here is the Gin Blade. Remember, it's not cost you anything in points, it's just a Relic slot that you're going for. So it replaces the Husk Blade. You get +1 strength. So now you're tipping yourself over into strength 4, so that helps. AP -3 and 3 damage. 3 damage weapon, it's deadly. And then remember I was saying I want to try and use him in close combat, 5 attacks, and then you get 2 additional attacks as well. So now you've got 7 attacks. Combine that with the fact he's able to fight twice, once during the game. There you've got 14 attacks in a turn from him. So it's pretty good. Just a little model, but a ton of attacks. And those 14 attacks, remember, it coming at damage 3 if they're able to get through. So that's it. You just roll a dice at the end of the fight phase. 1 single dice. If you roll a 1, the bearer suffers a mortal wound. And that's it with that relic. So now on to Warlord Traits. The Warlord Trait that I've chosen is a tactical choice, which I think will help me during the game. If I would have taken, if you're not running Trezar, then I would recommend taking Hatred Eternal. It lets you reroll your hits and your wounds. Combine that with his loadout of that damage 3 Gin Blade, it's just utterly deadly. Really, really good. So I would take Hatred Eternal, but I can't, my current list, I'm not running that. What I take instead, because that Hatred Eternal has been used on someone else, so I take Ancient Evil. This is a tactical choice. At the start of the fight phase, you can select one enemy unit within engagement range of this Warlord. That unit is not eligible to fight this phase until after all other eligible units from your army have done so. It just pushes that nasty unit the enemy may have to the back of the queue. It lets you fight with all of your units first. There's no danger of interrupt play taking place. And so it's a good tactical choice that I think has paid off before, and it will be a good option in the future. And you can always send him in just to pin a unit down to stop them from fighting, or to rescue another unit, because your opponent might be on standby with interrupt play, ready to try and hack a unit down. You send him in and you force them to fight last. So that's a tactical option, but my preference would be to take Hatred Eternal. Just turns into an absolute beast in close combat. Damage 3 is very, very powerful indeed. So that's the combo that I go for with him. So now you've got an HQ choice who's really got a license to go out and do what he wants. There's some Aurora available with him. I'd bury him inside a unit, inside a transport, so he's hard to get to. The blast pistol's decent, shooting weapon at close range, and then in close combat you've got a model that can chuck out tons of attacks with a high damage rate. So that's my third choice here. 3 HQs to show you. That's the third one that's coming in at third place. Now to show you second place next. So as I said, you may be disagreeing with what I'm covering here, but by all means leave it in the comments section. Give your own suggestions. Right, number 2 at second place is the Succubus. So brilliant plastic sculpt from Games Workshop. Really nice. So there she is, no blue hair. We'll put her just there. So Succubus stat line is great. Archon, by the way, coming through at 85 points in total with the combination I've gone for. But then with the Succubus, 60 points, very, very cheap indeed. And then with the use of relics and warlord traits, you can actually turn her into a very deadly unit indeed. So big fan of my HQ choices for the Drukhari here. 8-inch move, so very, very quick. Weapon skill and ballistic skill 2+, so very reliable in the delivery of that, especially close combat. You want a nice reliability coming through. The glaive used to be -1 to hit rolls, that's all gone. Strength 3, toughness 3, 5 wounds, 6 attacks now as a base. Fantastic. Leadership 8 and a 6-up save. So remember, I'm running mine as +2 to my advance rolls. So I'm looking at a movement of 8, advance of d6 +2. Then usually should be inside a transport vehicle. You can add another 3 inches reach on that as well. So nice and quick across the battlefield. I'm re-rolling charges with her as well for Cult of the Red Grief, so an extra reliability with that. She comes with Blade Artists again, so 6 to win in close combat is an extra AP -1. There's combat drugs, which I randomise. You have, if you choose, you can only take 1. If you randomise, you get 2, even though it's random. They're all good though, so I would recommend randomising, unless you have to have a certain combat drug. But you're looking at +1 to hit rolls, doesn't help her too much unless there's a bit of -1 going on. +1 strength, very, very helpful. +2 move, very good. +1 toughness, helpful. +1 weapon skill, already at 2+. And then +1 ballistic skill and leadership as well. They're all good. The extra attack I like, to give her 7 attacks. Now, combat drugs. Power from pain, so she can advance and charge turn 2 onwards. It's all good. 4+ invuln save, and it's not just in close combat, it's all just across the board, so that's very good. There's no escape rule here, so you can keep your opponent locked down in close combat. And she grants reroll 1s to the wound roll for which cult core units are in 6 inches, so a little bit of a buff and bonus going on there to help out which core units. So first thing I do is I swap out the agonizer and take a blast pistol, so she can use that in close combat, or she can use it at range 6 or less at strength 8 -4d6 damage. So now you've got a model that's carrying a blast pistol. She's quick enough across the board, the buffs are okay, there's not much to them. Then you look at the Archaic Glaive, +2 strength, she's fighting at strength 5, AP -3 and just 1 damage. It's not that great. So now we're going to turn her from, wouldn't even make it into this video, to the reason why I'm featuring her, and that's through the combination of a relic and then stacking that up with a Warlord trait. That's the good fun about putting this list together, is looking for combos that work. So Cult of the Red Grief, there is a relic that's available called the Blood Glaive. It's given her +2 strength, so that tips her over into strength 5, AP -3, which is brilliant, and then 3 damage, another 3 damage weapon available here in close combat for the Drukhari. So that's really, really good. Just doubling, tripling the effectiveness of the regular Archaic Glaive. So now, damage 3 is danger to character models, danger to vehicles, danger to most targets. So that's nasty enough. So that makes her good in close combat, but now I'm going to make her a little bit scary by taking a Warlord trait. So it's here. There's a number that you can go for. This one was quite tempting. Quicksilver Fighter, +2 attacks. Nice. 8 attacks. Possibility of 9 attacks if you roll a 1, I think, on combat drugs. Then you got Stim Addict, so the effects of combat drugs as well. But I've gone for Precision Blows. Each time unmodified hit roll of a 6 is made for a melee attack by this Warlord. 6 attacks in the 6, you should get 1. The other day I got 3 6s coming through. The target unit suffers a number of mortal wounds equal to the damage characteristic of the weapon used for that attack. The attack sequence ends. So damage 3, if you get a 6 hit, it's 3 mortal wounds. So when I rolled 666, 3 6s the other day, it was 9 mortal wounds that came through. Very, very scary. And that particular target was a unit that was carrying, invuln save protection. Those mortal wounds just cut right through that, ignoring all of that protection. So mortal wounds are great. No matter what the armor save is, no matter what the invuln save is, that's ignored. Mortal wounds just go straight through. So that's what turns her from okay to good to excellent, in my opinion. Just that combination of Warlord trait and relic, just making her very good indeed. So you've got 6 attacks coming through, 2s to hit. Then usually against characters and infantry, that's her main kind of target. It's 4s or 3s to wound. Any 6s she pops are going to cause mortal wounds against that target as well, and it's damage 3 coming through every time. So that's why she's number 2 here for this video. So number 1, my final choice. There he is. I'm sure many of you guessed who it would be. It's Trezar, the Master of Blades. Now, this guy was always good, is now even better, and again, rule of cool, I've chosen models that I really like. Perhaps the Archon, I could get the plastic model and do my own conversion work on it. That may be a pretty good idea to go for, but other than that, Love the Reavers. Brand new incoming models, brilliant. The plastic blister pack here, the kit for the succubus, brilliant sculpt from Games Workshop. And then Trezar Master of Blades, just fantastic. So they're all units that I love. Trezar Master of Blades, 135 points. He is a fair bit more, but I think he's vastly improved even compared to what he was before. So, movement 7, but turn 2 onwards, remember you've got advance and charge. I usually put him inside a transport vehicle, so you can add another 3 inches on top of that, because you want to try and deliver him, you want to get him across the board and against the target that he's going after. 2+ to hit in close combat. His toughness 4, 6 wounds. There's a fair few wounds to try and get through on him, 5 attack space and a 2-up armor save. He does come with an improved invuln save, he was 5+, is now 4+. Invuln save in close combat, does have the Tormentor's rule, and the Master of Blades, which we talked about earlier as well, he's given incoming units +1 to their wound rolls, and that includes him as well. He's got Blade Artists, Power from Pain, so he can advance and charge, turn 2 onwards, and so on. And then they just kept stacking on the extra rules to make him. This is a new one here. Each time an attack is allocated to this model, it's -1 damage against him, so that he can actually become pretty durable on his own and by himself. 4+ invuln save, 2-ups. Armor save, -1 to the damage roll against him. It's actually quite a durable HQ choice. And then Murderous Assault. This model can be selected to fight an additional time in each fight phase. It must be eligible to fight each time it's selected to do so. So you can fight twice every time, which makes him very, very scary indeed. Then the actual weapon he carries, the Executioner's Demiclaves. So single blade is +2 strength, so it's strength 6 -3. 3 damage. Remember, he's got +1 to the wound roll available there, so 3s or 2s to wound against a lot of targets. So then you've also got the option of dual blades. Remember, he's on 5 attack space, +1 strength, so he's still fighting at strength 5, 8 -2, 2 damage. So if you charge into space range, it's a good option to go for. And each time he fights, he gets an extra 2 attacks, so he's now on 7 attacks. Remember, he can fight twice. So you've got a little HQ model that can kick out 14 attacks. So scary enough. Now, I want to turn him from excellent to incredible, and that's with a simple Warlord trait. And so for my list, I would have put it on him, Hatred Eternal, but I put it on Trezar, and I haven't regretted it, because it turns him into terrifyingly good. So it's here. Now if you look at named characters, you have to take it. Trezar has to take Hatred Eternal. Each time this Warlord makes an attack, you can reroll the hit roll and the wound roll. So now all of a sudden you've got 2s to hit, rerolling your 1s. Then you've got 3s, often 2s to wound, and it's all rerollable. So you're going to send him in, you know he's going to get his hits. He's very likely to get his wounds coming through. It's coming at -3, -4, damage 3, damage 2, high damage stuff coming through, very, very scary. And the ability for him to fight twice, now you've got the ability for him to charge into unit Primaris Marines and to wipe them all out, fighting twice, to hack them all down. Quite effortlessly, I think, because you're just re-rolling everything, your hits and your wounds. And I've done it in a game recently. He just ploughed his way through one unit after the next. So I heartily recommend you take Trezar, and if you can, try and take his Warlord trait. It just makes him so much better, and it just stops it when you don't want him to, because this can happen. You charge him in, right? 5 attacks. Here he comes. You roll the dice. You roll 3 1s. Disaster. But now you're picking up those failures and re-rolling them all, and that's both to hit and to wound. And that just means that damage is coming through at a very consistent rate, and he becomes a much more reliable model. So can't emphasise enough, if you're going to take Trezar, try as much as you can to take that Warlord trait. It's so worth it, if possible. So that's my top 5 list. By all means, leave your own comments, suggestions and changes and so on. But this is units from my collection, units that I really love, units that I enjoy using, and units that I think are very, very effective. These HQ choices, I think they're one of the most deadly elements of my Drukhari list, and indeed from the Codex. There's some great combinations that you can go for. So I'd be fascinated to hear what other people are saying. If you're new to collecting Drukhari, or you're thinking about collecting them and you're trying to come up with a list, then by all means, incorporate these into your army here, but these are the ones that I recommend. This is the top 5 units for Drukhari based on the brand new codex. Check out the other top 5 unit videos for the different factions, hoping to produce more, especially for the new codexes as they come out, just to help you and to be a guide as you assemble a Dark Kin army of your own. Then remember those resources. There's the codex review, the complete army video, there's painting tutorials available, and keep a lookout for these fighting in battle reports on the channel as well. That's the video. Keep a lookout for more top 5 unit videos in the future. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time.